Alright, so the lesson 10.6 that I sent home to you actually covers a little more than I'm going to require you to do due to the circumstances. If you were in my classroom, we would look at the second half and I would review with you completing the square from algebra. But we are not going to do that in this video. We're only going to look at the standard form of the equation. So we'll look at problems 1 through 12. After we take a few notes at the start. So we're learning a new equation today. This is the equation for a circle. The standard form for the circle, for the equation of a circle in the coordinate plane is given as x minus h squared plus y minus k squared equal to r squared. Okay, so h, k are the coordinates of the center of the circle. So they give us the center of the circle, and r is the radius, gives us the length of the radius. Okay, so let's look at problem 1. So we're given the equation x plus 4 squared plus y minus 2 squared equals 25. All right, so remember h and k. So in this case, 4 and negative 2 are going to give us our center. Now, one thing to look at in the standard form of the equation, these are all subtraction, so minus h and minus k, or we can think about that as like the opposite of h and the opposite of k. Notice down here, even though it says minus h, I put positive h. Minus k, I wrote positive k. So this one here is positive 4. So I'm actually going to write that the center, so we'll write for our center, is actually going to be negative 4 and positive 2. Okay, the negative 2, we want the opposite of that. So we're going to write positive 2. Okay, so then if I go over to 4, I'm going to use a different pen. This is kind of hard to see. So if I go over from, see, there's my origin. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then up 2. There's the center of my circle. Okay, now this part of the equation, 25, is r squared. Okay, well, if r squared is 25, that means r would have to be just 5, because 5 squared is 25. So that tells me that the radius of this circle is going to be 5. So if I go up out in any direction, actually, now it's easier to use up, down, left, right, because we're graphing a circle on a square grid. Okay, so it's going to be easier to not try to use diagonals or anything. So I'm just going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and like I said, I can do that in any direction, and it may be helpful to do that if we count over 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now I'm not using a compass, so this is going to be bad. Okay, but I'm just going to use those points to sketch my circle. It's going to look something like this. Okay, so we have the sketch of our circle. Okay, I'm going to do number 2, and then I'm going to leave 3 and 4 for you to do. Actually, there was a place down here to write. I didn't even see that. Sorry. So our center again was negative 4, 2, and the radius is 5. Okay. So number 2, we can see that our center is going to be at 7. Now, there's nothing subtracted here for our k. Okay, so we have a number for nothing. It's called 0. So my center is going to be at 7, 0 for this one. And then we just want, if 4 is r squared, because we said this is r squared, then that means r would have to be 2. Okay, so r is 2. So I have a center of 7, 0. So we'll go over to 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 0, so we're on the axis. And then 2 in each direction. So my circle looks like that. Okay, 3 and 4, basically the same thing. So I think you can probably handle those on your own. So I'll let you get started with that. I'm going to flip over to the back, and you're going to see we're going to go through number 12, and we'll save the rest for another day. You're actually going to cover some of that when you get to Algebra 2. So we'll just kind of hold off on that for now. So all we're going to do here, this is kind of really the same thing. We're just not graphing it this time. We're just going to identify the center of the circle and the radius for the first two. So for number 5, the center of the circle would be the opposite of this, so it would be 5, and the opposite of -1 is 1, so 5, 1 is the center. The radius is just the square root of 64, which is 8. Okay. Number 6 is exactly the same, so I think I'm gonna leave that for you. Okay, actually, it's not exactly the same. Everything's the same except for this one asks you to find the diameter, right? So once you do this, remember diameter is always double the radius. There's your hint for number 6. Okay, for number 7, we can give the center. Our x is going to be 0. Our y is going to be -10. Okay, and then again we're asked for the diameter. Okay, so if we take the square root of 42.25, we're going to get 6.5. Okay, but we're asked for diameter. So 6.5 doubled would be 13. This circle would have a diameter of 13. Okay. Number 9. Now, number 9 asks for a circumference. So this is going to look a little different as well. But the center is found the same way. So -2, -9. It's just the opposite of those two numbers in the formula. The square root of 196 is 14, so R is 14. Okay, now let's think about circumference for a second. We find circumference using the formula 2 pi r. Okay, well we just said that our R is 14. All right, let me come over here to the side for a second. So R is 14, so that means to find circumference I would have 2 times pi times 14. Okay, so I'm going to leave pi in my problem here, and I'm just going to multiply 2 times 14. It's 28 pi. So my circumference is 28 pi. And if we take 28 pi, or 28 times 3.14, we get approximately 88. So we can say that it's about 88. Okay. Number 10 is very similar. I'm going to leave that one for you to do, and we'll do number 11. So 11, we have the center would be at 3, -4, and the radius is going to be 9. So R is 9. It's the square root of 81, but we're asked to find area. Okay, so for area, the area formula is A equals pi r squared. So that would be pi times 9 squared. 9 squared is 81. So 81 pi is going to be the area. And then once again, if we take 81 and multiply by 3.14, we can say that that's approximately 254. About 254. Okay, so work on problems 6, 8, 10, and 12. And from here on out, we will save these for another day. All right.